Can you take us like back? I think this is new for you. Can you give us a background of like how you started, how you got into leadership, and then why? Like this sounds very different from what you have done. Why this change? Like what's the reason, motivation, drive behind it?
If I do a little bit about my leadership journey, and it's interesting. I've been asked before, why did you choose to be a leader? And my answer to that is, I don't think I did choose to be a leader. I think leadership chose me. Even way back in school and scouts and things like that, I found myself in sports teams being the captain of the sports team, or at university the captain of the football team. And I can reassure you, Sumit, that wasn't based on sporting ability. I think it must have been based on a leadership quality that I don't know that I knew that I had, but perhaps other people recognized in me. And then when I started in the workplace, in my very first role, I found myself being promoted in less than a year to leading people. And then in every role that I've been in, whether I joined as a leader or joined in more junior positions, I found myself relatively quickly having the opportunity to step into leadership. So it's been a really incredible and interesting journey through that, and happy to expand on it. So many fabulous lessons that I've learned along the way, so many terrible mistakes that I've made on that journey, and I'd like to think that I've tried to learn from those mistakes to get through it. So if I fast forward through to my most recent role, and it is very different. My previous leadership role, I was running an EMEA-wide business in a completely separate industry, absolutely nothing to do with what I'm doing now. A large team of 1,000 people working across countries around the world, and a large turnover, part of a big US corporate. And that couldn't be more different than this. This is a very hands-on role. It's a much smaller business in terms of both revenue and turnover, but I'm at a stage in my career where I'm no longer. There was a time when I was impressed and chasing big numbers because I felt that defined my success. I'm at a level of kind of maturity now where I recognize that success isn't measured by the size of your P&L, it's the impact that you have on the team around you and the P&L. So I was initially approached for this role by somebody that I was the chairman of another business, and the CEO of that organization asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, look, I don't know what I want to do, but I know the things I don't want to do. And he said, how do you feel about, not grades? I'm not a big fan of eye surgery or anything like that. And he said, look, there's an organization I think you should talk to, because I think they would benefit from your involvement. And to cut a long story short, I went in to meet the directors and founders of that business, and was immediately struck by their passion, by their vision, and by their values. And again, I'm in the fortunate position that to be able to align my own values with an organization's values, and to have the choice around what that looks like. I've been incredibly lucky in my career. I think in almost every role I've been in, I've had very strong alignment between personal values and organizational values. But coming into healthcare, 25 years of trying to give team members a sense of purpose and why their job matters and the impact that they have. When one works in healthcare in general, and when one works in ophthalmology specifically, that is a very easy thing to do. It's very easy to say. In the past, I would talk to people in my team and say, your job's really important and it really impacts on the world and impacts on other people. Here, if I'm talking to a surgeon that's just saved somebody's sight, or a nurse who's helped a patient who's been wearing glasses all their life, no longer wear them, and I tell them, your role has a real impact on people's lives, they look at me as if I've said the stupidest thing ever, because of course. So that's really, I think the appeal was initially the founders and their values. Then I looked into the sector specifically and the company, and I was excited by the sector and the opportunities that I see commercially within that.